All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about something that affects millions of people but so often goes completely unseen. It's called high-functioning depression, and it's this strange paradox of hiding a deep struggle behind a mask of success. We're going to break down what it really looks like, and more importantly, what it feels like. So does this sound like you? At work, you are the person, the one everyone relies on. You're just crushing it, hitting every deadline, getting all the praise, maybe even getting promoted. From the outside, you look like the textbook definition of success. But then you walk through your front door, and it's like a switch flips. That smile is gone, all of that energy just vanishes, and you're left with this deep, profound exhaustion that has nothing to do with being busy. If that hits home for you, listen up, because you might not just be tired. And that is the absolute core of what we're exploring today, this disconnect, this hidden struggle of looking so productive and put together on the outside while feeling completely and persistently empty on the inside. You know, there's actually a clinical term for this, dysthymia. And what makes it so different and honestly so tricky is that unlike major depression, which can make it hard to even get out of bed, with dysthymia, you can function. You go to work, you see your friends, and that's exactly why it's so hard to spot. You're not alone in this either. We're talking about millions of adults who feel this way, but many just assume this is just how I am. Now, this slide really lays out that conflict perfectly. Look at the left column. That's the public you, successful, social, the person who has it all together. But then look at the right. That's the private reality, feeling numb inside, secretly exhausted from putting on a show, and just feeling constantly, utterly drained. So what do you do when you're living these two separate lives? Well, you put on the mask of fine. It's that face you show the world that says, I'm good, everything's great. And you know what's wild? Sometimes that mask is so convincing, you even start to fool yourself. And we're not talking about a bad week or a rough month. For a diagnosis of dysthymia, we're talking about these feelings being there for at least 2 years. 2 years. It's this chronic, low-grade hum of emptiness that just becomes your new normal. And when something feels normal for that long, you stop seeing it as a problem.
So how in the world do you start to look beyond that surface? What are the real signs that this is more than just stress or part of your personality? Let's get into it and break down the 7 biggest indicators.
Okay, sign number 1, and this one is huge. It's a relentless, super harsh inner critic. It's that little voice in your head that is just never, ever satisfied no matter how much you accomplish. It probably sounds something like this. Yeah, you got the project done, but it could have been better. You're being lazy. You should be doing more. See, this voice is sneaky. It pretends it's ambition or motivation, but really, it's a symptom of depression that just keeps chipping away at your sense of self-worth. And that inner critic directly fuels sign number 2, this constant, nagging feeling that you are wasting time. Even when you're supposed to be relaxing or literally right after you've achieved something huge, that anxiety is there telling you that you should be doing something else, something productive. Rest doesn't feel like recharging, it just feels like guilt. Okay, so what else? Sign 3 is having trouble feeling genuine joy. Sure, you can laugh at a party, but on the inside it feels kind of hollow. Then there's sign 4, constantly overthinking past mistakes and feeling this persistent guilt. Sign 5 is a big one, chronic fatigue. The kind where it doesn't matter how much you sleep, you're still tired. For number 6, we have irritability, or getting really angry over tiny things. And finally, number 7, losing interest in the things you used to love. Your hobbies just start to feel like chores. So I know that hearing all of that might feel a little heavy. But just recognizing these signs in yourself, that's not the end. That's the beginning. Acknowledgement is the most powerful first step you can take. And here's the truth we all need to hear. It is absolutely exhausting to pretend you're okay when you're not. The energy it takes to keep that mask on, to push through that numbness, to fight that inner critic day after day, it's immense. Just admitting that to yourself is a huge deal. So, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. What if you didn't have to carry all of that weight by yourself? What would it actually feel like to put that mask down, even for just a little while? Look, the path forward doesn't have to be some giant leap. It can start with really small steps. First, maybe it's just talking to one person you really trust. Then maybe you consider talking to a doctor or therapist to get a professional view. But the most important step of all is changing how you think about this. I want to be really clear. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound, incredible act of strength.
So let's end on this one thought. We live in a world that is constantly measuring us by our achievements and our to-do lists. But please, remember this. Your productivity does not define your worth. It doesn't. Your value as a person is just there. It's inherent. And it has absolutely nothing to do with how much you get done.